Don't you hate wrestling with predictability? The garbage man, the sexy boy, boring ass TV? How did I get to work in here? Somebody tell me, please. The WWF is confusing to me. With Vince as mean as you've ever seen. I told old Patterson I'm done here in June. When a sudden voice inside me whispered, Vinny, don't sell your dream so soon. And everywhere I look, there's a Ted with a hand to hold on to. And everywhere I look, there's a place and a promotion who needs you. And it's there you'll book when you're lost out there and you're all alone. And WCW's waiting to carry you home. It's there you'll book. And it's there I'll book. A doobity-ba-ba-ba, headed to Atlanta and listen to this podcast. It's all right, even though it fucking makes fun of everything I've ever done. Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW episode 36, which is also how old I am, 36 years old. So it just happens to be as I'm 36, and on this 36th episode, we knew it was coming, Logan. We knew it was coming, but it's the Thunder. I thought it was next week's Thunder. Logan told me I was wrong, and he was correct. And when I say this Thunder, I like to think everyone knows what it means, because this is probably the most worthwhile Thunder that they had, ever. But before we get there, Logan, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing all right. As soon as I saw the, on Peacock, it gave you like a little promo photo. As soon as I saw what it was, I was like, oh, this is the one. I get to see my favorite C-Spot run actor win the world title. So
C-Spot. I kind of enjoy C-Spot run, Logan.
I think that was the name of the dog movie he was in.
Yeah, it was. It was on VHS.
Mm-hmm.
That's showing my age. Also, I said I was 36. But when we rented the movie from Movie Gallery, RIP, it had the trailers, and that's what I love watching is the trailers when I go to the movies, or on a movie VHS. And that one had the first trailer for the first Harry Potter movie. When I tell you I lost my mind, Logan, I must have watched that. We had it for a weekend. I must have watched that trailer at least 50 times. I was wearing the fuck out of that VHS. I watched the movie like 3 times that weekend. But so it's just like so it always holds a special place in my heart. But this is not a Harry Potter podcast. This is a What Are We Doing podcast with their life. When I was watching this, Logan, I know it's going to get bad, and I think this we're driving to the cliff right here. We're driving to the cliff. So let's dive in because we know it's coming. Let's get us there tonight. So we're on the April 26, 2000 Thunder. Kicks off with a recap of Kidman and the Hogan feud, and then Kimberly saying she wants a divorce. Then all that happened with David Arquette, Sting and Vampiro fighting, and then the flashback flashbacks to David Arquette beating Eric so that DDP faced Jeff Jarrett in a cage match, then DDP winning the title. Tony welcomes us into Syracuse. Mello would be there in a couple years. We see the New Blood show up. It's Eric, Kimberly, and Jeff Jarrett, and they had kidnapped David Arquette and had him in the trunk of a car. Jeff drags David to the ring. Jeff says to get David's ass up. They're always talking about ass, Logan. That's what we've discovered. Jeff says they kidnapped David at the hotel. Jeff says on Monday, David stepped in my world tonight. He's going to be all up in his world. Jeff says he's going to continue to beat his 1-800 ass until he brings his trailer park trash out here. Talking about DDP. DDP and Canyon run out. Jeff stops them by saying he'll break David's neck before they can reach the ring. Jeff says DDP has something that belongs to him. Eric takes the mic and holds it for Jeff. Jeff says he's not leaving the town until he gets his title back. Jeff says it's the revenge of the New Blood. He says tonight it'll be Jeff and Eric versus David and DDP with the title on the line. So maybe Jeff Jarrett's to blame for this. DDP says, screw you. And Jeff says, no, screw you. It's me and my brother arguing with each other around this time with those comebacks. And then Buff and Shane show up behind DDP and Canyon. And then they are surrounded. And then Flair and Lex then attack Shane and Buff. And DDP and Canyon run to the ring. Jeff and Eric leave, but they take David with them. DDP tries to talk to Kimberly, but Canyon just chases after David. Kimberly slaps DDP, and then he puts her in the position for a DDT, but stops it. Kimberly then hits DDP in the nuts when DDP turned around, so he's just dumb. Hot opening segment, Logan. I do like that the Millionaires Club is acting as a unit, as we've seen before when they had the New Blood celebration after Spring Stampede, and even tonight with Flair and Luger going after Shane and Buff. So that's pretty nice. We got our main event for tonight. It's kind of wonky with how they set it up. If I was DDP, I'm like, yeah, we can do it without the title on the line. That's just me. We'll get to that. But like I said, a hot opening. We're doing pretty good here. Let's see when it goes off the rails. It'll be shortly. Probably the main event, personally. But what did you think, buddy?
Yeah, hot start. Didn't drag at all either. DDP looks like an idiot just because he completely just undersells the fact that Kim just hates him and wants to low blow him and be away from him as much as possible. So, hot segment to kind of open. So, not a bad start to the show for sure.
Yeah, and I know that was all the rage, to put their hands on women. And we have Lucha, where I was like, I don't really like this at first, but I've grown into it. But also, those women were wrestlers. Kim obviously couldn't wrestle at all unless she was wrestling with a dick. But I don't know. I was out of pocket. I don't know why I said that. But what else?
Or wrestling with that top where a titty popped out and 40-year-old version, whatever it was.
That's what I should have said. Damn you, Logan. That's why you're the backbone. But no, it's obvious she wants a divorce, but it seems like they ran through that storyline that should have been, 6 weeks in about a week and a half. That's Russo for you. It's crash booking, bro. So we go back to the announce desk and they talk about the possible tag match tonight. They also talk about the Bret Hart interview tonight, which why he hit Hulk Hogan with the steel chair. Bobby says everyone should hit Hogan with the chair. I agree, Bobby. I will say I completely forgot about this interview. They had talked about it some on Nitro, but it fits in pretty good here. It's really long, but it's basically Bret playing the same character he's played for the past 25 years now. So if you like angry and bitter Bret, you're going to get angry and bitter Bret. They also talked tonight that Sting versus Wall in a table match. So that should be just a gimmick match for gimmick match sake. Yeah. One thing I do not like with Sid being gone is how our boy has been devalued, Logan. Mm-hmm. Wall went from being a badass within this to we're basically a foot soldier now, and he'll be full emphasized even more in the coming weeks because I'm pretty sure he joins a crew that we saw on Monday. But I just can't wait to see how we get to that, or if they just put him with him, which Russo probably just put him with him. Yeah, more than likely. Also, I'm shocked that for the people who I thought had been stuck at each other's hip, I thought Russo and Jarrett being stuck at each other's hips, but it's actually Bischoff and Eric that's been stuck at each other's hip, which is kind of shocking to me.
Yeah,
Because like
yeah.
on,
Mhm.
on those documentaries, it always shows like, oh, Jeff was Vince's boy, and like with TNA, as you saw, but that's not really the case right now.
Yeah, based on their relationship, like you said, going forward, it would make more sense that maybe they would be the ones paired together. But it's kind of them, Bischoff and Jarrett, obviously, and then um, Russo's kind of been more with like Buff and Shane and a couple other guys as well. Um, and he's kind of has some dust ups with Chronic and stuff like that. But yeah, he's kind of been more associated with some other guys rather than Jarrett, which is surprising for sure.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's pretty cool. Like I said, me and you were barely watching this as we went over on the past 35 episodes. So we go backstage and Mean Gene's with Kat. Kat's dancing and Mean Gene asks him about Bam Bam. Kat says two things: don't tell him to stop dancing, or touches James Brown's CD collection. Reminded me of a scene in The Ringer. You touched my CD in broad daylight. I don't know if you've ever seen that, Logan.
I have, yes.
Johnny Knoxville masterpiece with the young Katherine Heigl. But anyway, Catlin says Bam Bam is a snake, and he attacked Kat with his back turned. Kat asks if Mean Gene was in on that deal. Mean Gene says no. Mean Gene says Russo and Eric said they are mad because Terry Funk is still the hardcore champion. He tells Gene to leave so he can dance, and he says, "Go to hell, with WCW." So just a weird segment. Kat doesn't really answer any of the questions. He just dances the whole time. We have a commercial break, and then we see Jeff, Eric, and Kimberly, and they have David in like a boiler room. Jeff keeps saying, "You want to step in my world?" That's literally what he keeps repeating. And Eric says, "You 1-800 having fun yet?" Because we got to get as many 1-800 fucking puns as we can. We've had 2 in 15 minutes, Logan, but just nothing really, and like showing that David Flair's still getting his ass kicked. I mean, David Arquette's still getting his ass kicked all night.
Yeah, they go to this boiler room about 500 times, I feel like, or at least it felt like that throughout the night. But yeah, David's just getting pummeled and teased and made fun of and all that kind of stuff in the boiler room. So, poor bastard. He didn't ask for this. It was brought upon him. So, but yeah, the cat stuff just didn't make a ton of sense. A lot of goofing off and dancing by the cat. And Gene's trying to have a serious interview, and Ernest is just not having it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Speaking of pretty bad, this leads us to match 1, which is Kat versus Bam Bam, and Bam Bam is just fucking cooked here, Logan. Like just cooked. Um, Kat comes out first. He's dancing with his red shoes, and he takes them off. Bam Bam comes out, and Kat gets on the mic and says, "Cut the music off." Kat asks Bam Bam to forgive him. He said, "This is about payback because I had to kick you in your in your face." He said, "I attacked you because you attacked me." Kat says that he's sorry. He doesn't want him. He wants someone else. Kat says, "Before I want you to know one thing: your breasts are bigger than your mom's." This obviously pisses off Bam Bam, and he gets in the ring and they trade punches. Bam Bam headbutts Kat, and then he drops him. Miss Hancock comes out. She's studying the wrestlers again. Bam Bam hits a back suplex and he rolls out of the ring. He grabs a chair, and the ref tells him no, despite us supposedly being DQ'd lax. He goes to use the chair, but the ref takes it from him. While this is happening, the Cat hits Bam Bam with the Phenoliner, which is a standing sidekick, and Cat wins. And after the match, Bam Bam beats up the Cat after the match. So this was just a nothing match, Logan.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't really a hardcore match, but these guys, Bigelow especially, has kind of been put in the hardcore division so far. Like you said, Cat kind of tries to talk Bigelow out of the match earlier, but eventually insults his mom. We have a Miss Hancock, or she pops up here and scouts the match, so she's continuing to not have a client whatsoever. Kind of clunky. Cat's offense is just kind of weird, and a lot of strikes that don't particularly lay in all that hard sometimes. He does hit some pretty good ones, but he has a lot of he's kind of Elix Skipper-esque to me. He has a lot of flashy kicks that don't really look like they make a ton of solid contact. But yeah, just Cat's just not my favorite. But of course, Bigelow gets him afterwards. So we got to see Ernest dance, but Bigelow laid him out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's nothing. We see Billy Kim and Notori show up. No one shows up on time here. DDP searching the huge backstage area for David Arquette. We get a commercial break. We see Eric telling David to leave, and like he tries to leave, but Jeff doesn't allow him. And Jeff says, "Are you ready? Are you ready to rumble?" It's like, goddamn, how many punts can we get in? Match 2 is Sean, the perfect one, Stasiak versus Canyon. So before we get to that, I did read something in the Observer. Do you remember when Stasiak debuted and we are like, that looks clunky as hell?
Mm-hmm.
It's because Perfect sandbagged him.
Oh, God. Okay. That makes sense. That makes a ton of sense.
So, pretty shitty, Logan. Pretty shitty.
Not surprising.
Yeah. I guess he felt threatened because he's the perfect one. And, you know, he should have known that was never going to fucking work. I mean, look at the new Rockers, the new Midnight Express. That shit never works, dude. Like, but ego in wrestling is just absurd. So, like I said, this is Sean, the perfect one, Stasiak versus Canyon. We see highlights from Sean and Curt Hennig from last Monday. Canyon looks perplexed because David is missing. Curt Hennig's music comes out, and out comes Curt. Curt's on commentary. The match starts. We get a collar and elbow tie-up. Sean gets a headlock and then hits Canyon with a shoulder block. Sean then gives Canyon a hip toss. Sean turns around and taunts Curt. This allows Canyon to get a headlock. And Sean sends him off to the ropes, but Canyon gets a shoulder block. Canyon rushes Sean again, but Sean's able to grab Canyon and hit a Death Valley driver, which was pretty nice. Sean once again taunts Curt, but then Canyon gets a roll-up and gets 2. Maybe he should learn to stop fucking taunting him. Canyon punches Sean and then goes for an Irish whip. Sean reverses. Canyon comes off the ropes and hits a nice swinging neck breaker, which is always nice. Canyon picks up Sean and like goes to grapple with him, but Sean kicks him. Sean chokes Canyon with his boot in the corner. Sean slams Canyon after this. Curt says he has brass knucks. Sean hits a crossbody on Canyon. Curt leaves commentary and punches Sean in the head with the knucks. The ref didn't see this. Canyon hits the flatliner and wins. And after the match, Curt attacks Sean. Pretty decent match. I really like Canyon's offense. Everything looks so crisp with him. I know he's called the innovator of offense, but like, it's like, damn, dude, like Canyon was pretty dope. And like, it's bummed like we missed out on it. And so did the wrestling fans. Because he could have been like a U.S. champ, not a main eventer, but like on the cusp.
Yeah, I don't think he ever probably had main eventer in him or, you know, had those kind of chops or anything like that. But he was definitely, it could have been a really, you know, real stalwart of that mid-card division for WCW here and even WWE when he goes over for the invasion. And they do present him pretty high for a little bit, but after that, like initial like invasion stuff that he does, he's pretty buried, and he'll show up on like Velocity and stuff like that for a while, but he eventually gets released, obviously. But yeah, he was definitely a miss in the wrestling world for sure. And it's sad what kind of happened to him after all of that. But yeah, definitely brings up Stasiak in this match. Does some incredible stuff. Even makes the flatliner actually look like a not terrible move, like our boy Mill does on Linking Up Luchas. But yeah, this was more about Hennig being involved, kind of being around ringside, and more about him and Stasiak's kind of rivalry to this point. But a solid match nonetheless.
Yeah, and after the match, Mike Awesome comes down and attacks Canyon. Mike hits a sweet release German suplex on Canyon. It was awesome. And while this is happening, Kurt's talking shit to Sean and says he's Curt Hennig. He's like the real perfect one. Mike keeps attacking Canyon and throws him out of the ring and actually power bombs him through the announce table. Then Curt hits the perfect plex on Sean. Mike Awesome comes in and kicks Curt, and then Sean and Mike attack Curt. DDP music finally hits, and he gets in the ring. He hits a diamond cutter on Sean. Mike Awesome just walks away, so we see where the pecking order is on that. DDP goes outside the ring and checks on Canyon. He then gets on the mic and says, "You want to send Mike Awesome out here beating up on my friends? You want the match tonight? You got it." So pretty nice segment. Like they're still like keeping Mike Awesome kind of strong. Stronger, like longer than I thought. We'll see if that lasts, but it was pretty dope. I enjoyed it. Seeing Mike Awesome whoop people's ass, and he had a sweet release German suplex. Like it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that power bomb through the table was pretty sick as well.
Yes,
But
it
yeah,
was.
I love as soon as DDP comes out and he starts going after Stasiak. Awesome's just like, fuck it, I'm good. I'm gonna walk away. I don't really care about this guy. I really just wanted some revenge on Canyon. But yeah, DDP accepts the match obviously to have the main event later. So um, yeah, saw a little beat down by Awesome. He quickly said fuck it because he didn't really want to deal with Stasiak. But yeah, exciting that we got the acceptance of the main event, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's dumb, but we'll get to that. We see Billy and Tori walking backstage. Kidman has on the Hulkamania t-shirt. We get a commercial break, and then we see what just happened. Then Kidman's music hits, and him and Tori come out. We randomly fucking see Mark Marrow ringside. They even name drop him as Mark Marrow. I was fucking shocked.
Mm-hmm. At least they don't call him Mark Morrow like Todd Pettingill does at WrestleMania as well.
God. Mark Morrow. Yeah. So Kidman gets on the mic. He says the legend is dead. Billy says nobody could put Hogan out of the business like I did. Billy says interview after interview, Hogan said I couldn't draw at a flea market. Billy said who is drawing now? Billy says I'm the one whose parents want their kids to be like. Billy says Hogan is in a hospital bed because he put him there. Billy then issues an open challenge to anyone who could swat this flea. Tori says, I can't wait to see you sweat, but she can't wait to give someone the kiss of death, so she's Katrina now. Billy Kidman says the kid is waiting. Bobby says, Tanae, why don't you do it? You get a free smooch, which Bobby was on his shit tonight in a good way. Then Hulk Hogan's music hits, and out comes but-up, Horace Hogan. So that's pretty much. It was like a wet fucking fart. Yeah, I much rather would have seen Jimmy Hart come out than fucking Horace Hogan.
What about Paul Hogan? We would have seen him.
Fucking saying Crocodile Dundee. Oh, you want to see a knife? This is a knife. I can't do the fucking voice.
Or Ben Hogan's old ass, the fucking golfer.
Yeah, send anyone out but this worthless piece of shit who, just got that way because of who his uncle was. So it's like, okay. But yeah, like Kidman and this fucking match, spoiler guys, is gonna piss me off because it's like, are you trying to make Billy Kidman look like a joke? Like, goddamn.
Was Horace in the flock at any point?
Yeah, he was in the flock.
Okay, so this is a matchup of two former flock members as well.
I don't know if they were in the flock at the same time.
I just meant in general.
Check me on that. But yeah, he was in the flock. So, Logan, this came close to pissing me off just as much as the main event.
Yeah, it's bad for sure.
So Horace, who I'm pretty sure never got any fucking offense in, gets more offense than I've ever seen in any of his matches. I'm sorry I wasn't watching fucking Worldwide. But so Horace rushes the ring and throws Billy to the turnbuckle. Billy tried a head scissors, but Horace just like grabs him and crotches Billy. He clotheslines Billy over the top rope because he was hanging on the rope and beats him down outside the ring. Horace throws Billy in the ring and throws him into the turnbuckle. Horace charged Billy, but Billy got a boot up. Billy went at Horace, but Horace hits him with a big boot of his own. Horace then clotheslines Billy out of the ring again. Horace throws Billy in the guardrail and punches him. Horace goes to tackle Billy in the guardrail, but he moves. So Horace crashes in the guardrail. Billy throws Horace in the steps and throws him in the ring. Billy kicks Horace, then picks him up, but then he gets hit by a clothesline by Horace. Horace tries another clothesline, but Billy ducks it, hits a Hurricane Rana, where I was like, oh, we're going to see some fucking offense here. Not really. Billy stomps Horace and punches him. He snap smares Horace and drops an elbow. Billy goes up top and does like the Hulk Hogan like ear cupping top and misses a splash. Horace punches Billy and hits a power slam. Out comes fucking Eric Bischoff because he's got to be wrapped up in so many fucking storylines. Like he's goddamn Triple H in fucking 2002 WWF. Horace hits a press slam that power bombs Billy. Horace goes outside and grabs a steel chair and hits him in the injured ribs. Despite 2 matches ago, the ref not allowing a fucking steel chair, they allow it in this match. Ugh. So Billy then tries a sunset flip, but then Horace picks him up, hits a Baldo bomb on him. Horace pulls out a table. He sets up the table outside the ring, and he's going to grab it to suplex Billy through the table. But Tori grabs Horace in the nuts. She doesn't punch him. She grabs him, which I would probably pay a lot of money for her to do that to me. It might hurt, but it'd be worth it for her touching my penis. I'm losing my mind. Horace drops. Yeah. So Horace stops attacking Billy because, Tori's grabbing his nuts. Eric grabs a chair. He karate kicks the ref in a horrible way. He hits Horace with the chair, and then Kidman hits a bulldog through the table. Eric counts 3 on the outside of the ring. Tori gives a kiss of death. It's like they're sabotaging Billy, but being like, look, we're doing it for him. But they make him look like a fucking joke here to Horace goddamn Hogan. Bring Nick out and just have him fucking hit him with a card too while we're at it. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, this is ridiculous. But they're like, see, he won. Motherfucker had his girlfriend interfere. Eric Bischoff throw like the worst karate kicks ever to the ref, then take him out with the chair. But then Billy hits the bulldog despite getting his ass beat 85% of the match. Just like on Monday when it was a handicap match and Hogan was whooping ass for 75% of the match.
Yeah, this was a complete mess and lasted way, way too long. Like you said, Kidman takes way too much offense. He doesn't have to dominate this match per se because Horace is still at the end of the day bigger than he is, but Kidman should have won this pretty handily and not needed a ton of help. I know they're trying to get him kind of over as like whether it's the right call, but kind of as a skeezy kind of low life, prick heel. But yeah, you didn't need to do this with Horace. You could have done it with somebody else. And he really doesn't need to be taking a lot of offense from anybody, especially if you're going to fucking pair him with Hogan, because Hogan's just going to cream him and squash him if that's where you're going. So, I mean, definitely bad booking for sure.
Billy can wrestle. Just have him wrestle and cheat to win. That's all you have to do. It's not fucking rocket science. Have him show that he can wrestle, have him whoop Horace's ass, but show him that he can still take corners. Like, he can cut corners as well. Like I said, it's not that goddamn difficult. Like,
well, apparently it is. I'm just kidding.
I was smacking my hands just now, and I just got the activity saying that I've reached all my daily activity goals I just burned like 5 calories right there getting amped up, Logan. That's what this podcast does to me. So we see Tank Abbott walk. Yeah, right. My heartbeat. I was out last Friday. Jennifer Smith came to town and Miranda, and I was out last Friday. I might have been drinking, and I guess I got so drinking. I guess I got so loud, Logan, that Emily was like my Apple Watch was hitting like, you're at 50 you need like, you're being like, when it's like you're super loud, like you, like that's how it was. Like, for, there you go.
If you don't leave this space, you will go deaf. Is basically what it says.
Pretty much. What else? It's just a warning. But still have great hearing aids in 40 years. So but anyway, back to the show. It was a great time with Jenny and Miranda. Great time as always. They came to Nashville. So we see Tank Abbott walking backstage. They have a commercial break. Tanklin gets on the mic and says, "All right, if you're going to chant his name, chant it right." Ghostberg, which was pretty funny. Tank says he's been in more fights than everyone in the building. He says, "What idiot is going down tonight?" and says, "This is on you, Bill." Tank walks around the ring. He talks shit to Mark Marrow and like this boxing guy named Rinaldi that was with Mark Marrow. Mark Marrow hops over the railing. Mark and Tank circle each other and they start wrestling and throwing punches. Security comes out and breaks them up. I had no idea this happened, Logan, but they were playing Johnny B. Bad's music when they cut backstage. Yeah. I don't know if you heard that or not, but it made me laugh. I was like, so I was like, were they maybe planning on Mark Marrow coming in here and it like fell through and like this was like a one night thing?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it could have been something, I guess. He probably still had a little bit left in the tank. I mean, he had some injuries and obviously wasn't the athlete that he was in a previous stint, obviously. But He probably could have done something. But who knows whether they actually had plans for him or anything like that. But just there's a real person that Tank could actually like somewhat spar with a little bit. So,
and it was kind of hot. Like everyone seemed to like it, so it was pretty cool to see. So I was like, damn, okay, let's see what we're going. But it was a pretty cool. Like I wasn't like I know that he had showed up that one time with Sable, and they were in the front row when she couldn't be Sable. She was Rena Mero. It was before her WWF contract had run out, and they got in a little trouble with that. But they acted like she was just a fan, despite having security around her. But it was just weird. That was the year before. But and then in a what the fuck are we thinking moment, we go backstage and we see Sting is walking backstage. He's still covered in the red liquid, which they tape Thunder on Tuesdays. And this is supposed to be Wednesday. And we're all supposed to make believe it's Wednesday. But sometimes they slip up and they'll say last night like dum-dums. He's still covered in this fucking red liquid. It's like, is this man broken inside? Like, I have in my notes here, why is he still covered in red 2 days later? So do you think they just gave him more and they just like then dumped it on him? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just like, oh my God, he's so broken now. Like, this is what's going on. So like,
yeah,
that was weird. Yeah. So that's weird. And then go to commercial break, and we found out that DDP has found Canyon. DDP says they were going to see Canyon, so I forgot Canyon got his doctorate, became a doctor in between matches. Yeah, he like, who better? I hope you feel better. This leads us to match 4, which is Wall versus Sting in a tables match. Wall is out first. We see tables set up around the ring. Sting's out next. He's still covered in the liquid. The announce team is talking that he looks like he's in a trance or a zombie. They say that Sting has snapped. We see highlights on Monday where he got covered in the red liquid and hung up like a piñata. So Sting match starts. Sting kicks Wall and hits atomic drop. Sting punches Wall out of the ring. Wall punches Sting twice, then tried to power slam Sting through a table, but Sting slid off and pushed Wall over the table. It looked like that kind of fucking hurt. Sting's back in the ring, and Wall tries to get back in the ring, but Sting fights Wall on the apron. And then I laughed at this moment, Logan, and we all know I'm a huge Sting fan. So Sting tries to jump over Wall and do a sunset flip powerbomb to the outside, but he eats shit fucking hard. Like that really hurt him a lot, probably, because like
he busted his ace.
The red liquid, I guess, made him still slippery, but he just fucking slips right off of the wall when he's trying to do this, because it would have been a hot ending, you know.
I think he just got a little too overzealous, got going a little too hot over the ropes, and just slipped and busted his ass, like I said. Yeah, so he then like tries to like power bomb him, but the Wall punches him, but then Sting gets like a second win and power bombs Wall through the table. Kind of a squash from the Wall, which I'm kind of upset about because he was pretty awesome. But this was just a nothing match, Logan. And we'll talk about what happens afterwards in a minute, but this was a nothing match at all. Yeah, to be a tables match, you would have expected maybe a little bit more, but it was just kind of gimmicky. And again, just another thing to kind of push Sting and Vampiro and just kind of have somebody else in there to kind of, be in the match. But obviously comes out to be, just a kind of a front to have Vampiro and Sting kind of fight again. But Sting, being the badass that he is, ends up kind of battling both of them off anyways, and he does end up powerbombing Wall after all, but didn't quite go as he planned the first time, and really a brutal bump. I wouldn't be surprised if he messed up his tailbone or felt that one for a few weeks. Yeah, it was bad. And as you alluded to, Vampiro runs down after the match. Wall and Vampiro beat down Sting. He gets some offense in, and he's up taking down both men. He hits a stinger splash on Vampiro, but Wall comes back in, and Sting knocks him back out. So Sting basically makes them his bitch. Not looking good for these guys tonight. Second time this has happened. We saw it with DDP earlier with Sean Stasiak. These awesome got out of the ring. And then we see Vince, Shane, and Buff walking backstage. Vince says he's about to drop a bomb. That's also what I say when I'm going to the bathroom, but I think my bombs are probably better than Vince's bombs. So we get a commercial break, and we see Sting walking backstage, and it shows him just leaving the arena, but he was out near the electrical shit. I thought he was going to, like, fuck with the electrical stuff. You never know, Logan.
So Vince Russo's music hits, and he comes out with Shane and Buff. He calls himself the Batman. Russo says, "Upstate Rochester is not part of New York. This dump might as well be Iowa." That's my horrible Russo impersonation. Buff says this place just sucks. And speaking of sucking, he's tired of hearing about the total package. Buff says at Slamboree he will show Lex why he's buff and he's the stuff. Shane Douglas says for 25 years everyone has heard how good Flair is. Shane says this is a shoot. This is a shoot. And at Slamboree, Shane says he's going to have his ass on a silver platter and he'll be franchised. Ric Flair's music comes out and Team Package comes out. Russo says I anticipated this and calls the security to come protect the new blood. Rick says you made a mistake tonight. Rick says, here's the deal. I can't talk for Hulk Hogan. He says Hogan is the man. Says he's a white-collar champion, which I think he meant to say blue-collar, but that's neither here nor there. Flair talks about how the Millionaire Club has legendary status. Flair does all the Sting's yells and flexes like Luger. Says we've been doing this. Flair brings up war games. Says we partied all night and went to the next town. Flair says we're the blood of the sport. Said we made these people love wrestling, which, right. Flair said we all wanted to be the best and we can't be on any given night. Flair said that's why we're still here. Flair calls Russo a mark for the business and all the Millionaire Club. Flair said last time I looked, there's one franchise in WCW and it's Sting, and like Shane's yelling at the screen. Flair talks about wrestling all these legends and says you can never beat me. Flair says he's pissed away more money on bar tabs than all three will ever make. Just amazing. I love that line. I know he used it before, but it gets me so hyped, Logan. Flair says he'll do it again tonight. He said drinks are on the house, courtesy of the Nature Boy. Flair says Douglas at Slamboree and says if you want to touch greatness at Slamboree, that's the only way Douglas gets to touch his greatness, and that if Russo interferes in the match, or Flair wins, Flair gets Russo for 5 minutes. Russo says, you know what, Rick, this is part of the show when I'm supposed to be the chicken shit heel. And he says he will do it. Russo says it's time. Russo says he will own Slick Dick because he's got the big apple. Lex asks if Buff is still the same punk who rode in the car with him and Sting or slept in the pull-away bed trying to save money. Lex says, Russo, when you address the Nature Boy, you better put some respect on his name. I'm like, damn, Lex. Russo says, I'm glad you survived the car crash called the Lex Express, which made me laugh. Russo says, you pissed me off, Lex, because I'll never have your body or Liz. Russo says, you want to talk about power? And he was going through contracts and says he owns Liz's contract. Russo says Liz is Russo's property now. He tells security to bring Liz to him now. Lex and Flair beat down security and rush the ring. The new blood bails. While this is happening, Russo kidnaps Liz. Not an all-time segment, but a really good segment for this part of WCW, Logan. Flair, it's an amazing promo that Flair cuts. Probably the best we've seen so far from Flair. I know we haven't seen him a lot, but like this was so good that I told our group chat, I was like, go out and watch this. Like Russo ruins it because I don't want to be the chicken shit heel, but it's like Flair's just amazing. Like he drops all the history on him, and this is like a legendary, like it harkens back to the legendary Flair promos. I'm not saying it's a legendary promo, but like it's a very good to great promo in my opinion. What did you think, buddy? Or am I just losing my mind? Like this shit has broken me so much that like you're like, it's actually pretty mid, but no, like I just thought it was amazing.
No, it was very good. Especially given some of the promos what we've heard in this era, of course, not the strongest promo cutters that we've kind of talked about, but yeah, kind of harkens back to those classic Flair promos. He cites history. He kind of goes a little off the rails at certain points, but this is what he's known for. This is kind of the stuff that a lot of people fell in love with in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that when he was at his peak, winning world titles all the time and stuff like that. So, really, really good promo. Like you said, a package even, he delivers a few good lines in there. So Lex has never been a super strong promo, but he adds his little flair into it there. But yeah, Russo's just kind of an annoying pest, kind of calling out, business terms and stuff like that. And, just being a douche. But yeah, real good Flair promo for sure.
Yeah. And you're 100% right about Luger. Like Luger's not known for his promos, but like, I'm not saying he held his own with Flair, but like, it was a nice compliment to Flair tonight. And like, I was like, God damn, it made me want to see these matches at Slamboree. Like,
yeah.
But then Russo has to be Russo. So
I would rather see them be in a tag match, but yeah, we'll see them fight separately.
Well, considering I'm sure the tag title will change either on the next Nitro or the next Thunder.
Yeah, true. The way we're changing belts, yeah, probably.
But yeah, just an amazing match, guys. I mean, amazing promo. Go out of your way to check it out. We don't suggest that a lot here to check this stuff out. So we're watching this so you don't have to. So we have a commercial break. We see that Russo has kidnapped Liz. We see a doctor looking at David, and he's saying that David keeps saying that he's fine. Tammy's music then hits, which sounds like stripper music from 1950s. And then she's wearing like a robe, and Tammy gets on the mic and says, "I bet all of you are wondering what I'm wearing under this robe or not wearing." And the announcers get all horned up, like they couldn't go online and see her naked. Tammy says she knows what guys come to see and takes off the robe. She's showing off her tits, and then she dances. Then Paisley's music hits, and I thought last Monday's match was horrible. This is on par for just the same. It's horrible. It's Tammy versus Paisley, the feud that won't die. Both women have their men with them. The match starts with women circling each other. Tammy goes for a headlock and then go behind and throws her down. Tammy celebrates, and then Paisley grabs her by the hair and pulls her down. They start rolling around in a cat fight. The ref separates them. Tammy pushes down Paisley and starts choking her with a rope that she had, and then she drops it to the ground. Tammy distracts the ref, and Chris starts choking on Paisley on the rope. Paisley hits a low blow on Tammy, and then Paisley throws a punch, and Tammy ducks it, and she hits a stunner. For some reason, Tammy then goes up to the top rope and jumps to the outside where the ref was for some reason. With the artist and Chris were all there. They called her. Then Chris gets in the ring and tries to punch Paisley, but she ducks and punches him in the nuts. Then he goes out of the ring. Paisley reverses an Irish whip and sends Tammy in the corner. Paisley hits the slowest and worst handspring elbow in history. It's like in slow motion. Paisley tried to pin Tammy, but Chris pulled her off, and the artist finally attacks Chris. Tammy goes on top, and then the artist crotches Tammy on the top rope. This was just horrible. Tammy tried to slam Paisley, but Paisley reversed to a DDT, and thank fuck that it's over. After the match, Chris attacks Prince, and Tammy attacks Paisley. Like, this is horrible. Like, Tammy should not be wrestling. She should be a valet. Same with Paisley. Artist is the biggest jabroni out there per Juventud Guerrera earlier this year. Horrible match. Like, just god awful. Just god awful. Logan. Anything.
Yeah. This got the classic Tim Capel. What are we doing? For me in my notes, I wrote that verbatim. I said, "What are we doing with this match? Just absolutely horrendous, whatever you want to say." These are two women, like you said, that just should not be wrestling, especially Tammy. I don't know Charmel or Paisley, whatever you want to call her, athletic background, but Tammy's way past her expiration date at this point, and definitely doesn't need to be in matches. And it's happened 2 weeks in a row, and it needs to stop now. This needs to be it, because this was absolutely awful, a complete waste of TV time, just absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, it so bad. Like,
and Paisley wins and immediately gets taken down, and
where have we seen that before, Logan?
True.
Yeah, like it's just god awful. Like, so god awful. It's so frustrating, man. So frustrating. Yeah, like Chris might be somewhat decent, but like Tammy is not. Like, holy shit. Like, maybe she should cut promos, but yeah.
Yeah, she could gladly be his manager and stuff like that, but
she should not be wrestling, like, one bit. So we go backstage, and Gene's with Booker, and Gene announces that at Slamboree it'd be Booker versus Steiner for the U.S. title. Booker says he has to put Scott in his place. He's going to shut him up. Then Major Gunn shows up and she says she'll help Gene interview. She says she wants to ask some questions. She has Booker for his plans for Mike Awesome tonight. And then Booker says Mike Awesome might make it in WCW, and then he leaves. And then they say coming up next, but then we see Scott about to bang one of his freaks, and he's about to bang Medeja, and the other freak, I guess, was watching Thunder, and she says, "Look, it's Booker," and Scott takes off. Just a weird segment. Commercial break, and then David's saying his ribs are okay, and DDP saying, "Don't come out here." David says he knows he can take Bischoff. You can't stop me, and walks off. This leads us to match 6, which is Booker versus Mike Awesome. Both men are out, and Scott comes down with his freaks. Scott calls the fans white trash. He gets on commentary. The match starts, and both men circle each other. Booker gets caught in an elbow tie-up. Mike Awesome hits Booker with an elbow. Booker reverses an Irish whip. Mike Awesome hits Booker with a shoulder block. And then Booker was trying to leapfrog over Mike, but Awesome caught him and did a reverse suplex on Booker, which was pretty nice. Scott is on commentary saying he should be world champion, which I agree with. He talks about Hogan, talking about his spot. Scott says he can see his spot, his bald spot, his limp dick spot, his old age spot. Just
my dog.
Why are they giving this man a mic? Yeah, pretty much. Like, why are they giving this man? Exactly. Yeah. Why are they giving this man a fucking mic and letting him talk? Back in the ring, Booker hits a spin kick to Mike Awesome, then hits a flying forearm. Booker clotheslines Awesome out of the ring and hits an axe handle to him. Mike reverses an Irish whip to the guardrail, and then Mike throws Booker into the steps. Booker keeps telling Scott that Tony and Mike don't like Scott, so he'll beat him up. And he's like, "Will you stop?" Mike hits a flying clothesline from the top and gets. It was pretty nice. Mike hits a flying clothesline from the top and gets 2. Mike hits a clothesline on a Booker in the corner. This gets it 2 as well. Scott says Booker isn't as tough as people say he is. Mike has Booker in a chin lock. Booker arms drops 2 times, so rises on 3, and he fights out. Bobby says, "I see you bought a spare," talking about the freaks. Scott says, "Why are you looking at my freaks for, Tony?" Just amazing. He says, "I see you brought a spare." Just like I said, amazing. I was in tears because Bobby just kept like fucking needling Scott to like, and they were like, "Stop doing this." And he's like, "Oh, I see you brought a spare." He's like, "Yeah, you want to go on her? Like, you want to turn on her?" He's like, "I'm married." It's just amazing. Booker fights out and hits an axe kick on Mike Awesome. He sends Awesome into the ropes, hits a flapjack. Booker goes up top, and then Scott gets off commentary and hits Booker with the belt. Mike Awesome hits a running Awesome bomb, and it's over. Scott puts Booker in the Steiner recliner, and then Lash LaRue comes down. He gets beaten down. Chavo runs down and gets beaten down. Hugh Morris and Van Hammer run in. Then the numbers game overtakes them, and they all beat down Scott's. Yeah, humorous. They all beat down Scott Steiner and Awesome. So we see a crew that might be together from who got a tongue lashing on Monday. Seem to be working together. So we'll see if that comes with anything.
Misfits, you could call them.
Yeah, you could, and they were in action. So we'll see what happens there. But I kind of enjoyed this match, Logan. I really enjoyed Scott Steiner on commentary more. Him going off on Hogan was amazing. Like, it's completely out of nowhere, but it was just great. What did you think of everything? Did you get any more lines from Scott Steiner on commentary?
I did not, but he was absolutely fantastic throughout. And people shit on Bobby for obviously he loses motivation kind of here towards the end. He gets kind of downgraded and stuff like that, but he still has that fastball when he needs to throw it every now and then. He's like the relief pitcher that's not quite as good as he used to be, but he can still get the strikeouts every now and then. So he's still got some good stuff throughout this. He's like obviously Needle and Tony, Needle's Steiner a little bit here. So Bobby's still got a few zingers in there. He may not be quite as sharp as he used to be, but he's still pretty lively on commentary, I would say. Here, I really loved the Awesome Bomb that ended the match. I thought it was pretty sick. Steiner, like you said, was great on commentary the whole time. And this is a match that I would like to see maybe with no chicanery or anything like that. Get another go and maybe go a little bit longer because I think these guys are both really talented and seem to have a pretty good match here, but. Again, with a lot of these TV matches, just didn't get a ton of time.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating because you see, like, they do have some talent,
Hmm.
and it's like, what's going on, man, guys? Like,
They have to fit
okay,
in all the backstage segments, Scott. Come on.
yeah, exactly. Like, that's just like, what the fuck? So then comes the Scott Hudson interview with Brett, which every time we see Brett on the screen, I'm shocked because I thought he was done, Logan.
Yeah.
Um, so Scott interviewed Brett in his house, his palatial estate in
In Calgary.
Calgary, Alberta. Scott asked why Hogan and why now. Brett says Hulk Hogan stopped Brett from beating him. He ran and blocked Brett from beating Hogan one-on-one. Brett says it's convenient that Hogan showed up when Brett had to leave. Scott asked if he thinks Hogan's afraid of Brett. Brett says that he must be. Brett says, why haven't they fought? Brett says Hogan knew that Brett was the best. Brett says he would have beat Hogan then and he would now. They talk about WWF where Hogan held Brett back and now Hogan didn't pass the torch to Brett. Brett says he came to WCW for Hulk Hogan. Scott asked for an example of how Hogan held him back. Brett says that Eric promised Brett and Hogan didn't allow it. Brett says Eric has been a friend to him, which is hilarious for what Eric says now. Made me laugh. Brett says Hogan derailed everything that came across the table. Brett says he can't find any peace. He says he will make Hulk Hogan pay and pay. It seems like they're hyping up a Brett versus Hogan feud, which doesn't happen. Like they asked, like Scott Hudson's, like, how would you like to end your career? And he's like, with Hulk Hogan and a sharpshooter, and me just cinching it in. And it's like, are they hyping up like a Hogan versus Brett feud? But it's like, I'm pretty sure he's been clear that he can't wrestle ever again. But like, if they ever,
they'll do it
like,
for that.
they don't go. But like, yeah, but like, I'm like, damn, I kind of want to see a Brett versus Hogan feud because he is pretty true with what he was saying. But it was a pretty nice interview. Like, Brett's just Brett, still bitter after all these years. I mean, life hasn't been the greatest for him, but yeah. What'd you think of that interview?
Yeah, like you said, kind of angry, Brett, kind of what we're used to nowadays. But yeah, I mean, I don't say I really like want to see that match, but it does give you a little bit of intrigue of maybe whether it happens or not, because I think Brett's still good, but he's definitely past where he's at his best, I would say. And Hogan obviously is well past his prime at this point, and kind of a person that we kind of hate seeing at this point in the run. So, but yeah, it would be an intriguing match to see for sure, but not something I'm like dying to see at the same time, I would say.
Yeah, like, I mean, it'd been so much cooler a couple years before, but not now. But I'm like, damn, I still want to kind of see it because I never had the match. Like, they probably had something in WWF, like when Hart was part of the Hart Foundation, not the Bret Hart we know now type deal. So, but it seems like they're hyping up a Bret versus. They did better hyping up a Bret versus Hogan feud than they've done Bret Hart versus fucking Billy Kidman, Logan. Just in one segment.
Yeah, one fucking interview.
So, yeah, like, goddamn. Which I think Bret just fucking disappears after this. So it's like, great, like, wonderful, great job, guys, great fucking job.
Well done.
So, yeah. So we see Jeff and Eric walking. We see DDP telling David not to come. DDP walks off, but David starts stumbling upon him and follows him. My note literally here says sigh. This leads us to match 7, guys. Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff versus DDP and David Arquette for the world title. Whoever gets the pin will win the world title. David and DDP rush the ring. Eric and Jeff bail. They show how DDP wins the title. We notice that no ref is out. Kimberly comes out in the ref uniform. She's the ref. We have 6 minutes left. Jeff and Eric slide in. Everyone starts fighting. Dave and Eric on the outside. They battle in the aisle. Jeff and DDP fighting outside the ring because they always need a brawl. Then Jeff and DDP get back in the ring. DDP hits a neck breaker on Jeff. He pins Jeff, but Kimberly takes forever to get down, and she won't. And she counts 1 and then breaks a nail. DDP then hits a sit-down power bomb, and Kim just doesn't count the pin at all. And then you see that Kim is wearing a thong, and Bobby says, "Look, she's wearing a slingshot," which made me laugh. Um, which
That's what I mean, man.
It just happened. My wife was in the room when that happened. She's like, "What did you just say?" I was like, "He called a thong a slingshot," and then
Oh God,
I was like, "Wrestling used to be different from when you watch
what a
it now with
beautiful
me,
bastard
babe."
he is.
Yeah, he's like, "Why does she got a slingshot? She's wearing a slingshot," which was great. Um, so Jeff starts punching DDP. DDP tried a sunset flip, and Jeff sat on him for the pin. I was like, "Just count three. Just count three. Just count three." It's like, have you seen Hot Tub Time Machine?
Yeah.
Do you know when they're betting on the game, the Browns game, and they're like, "Oh, this is the one where they win," and like they lose? I was really hoping something like that would happen. She would just count three, and Jeff Jarrett would win. Like I was really hoping, but sadly wasn't the case.
Fortunately not.
And yeah, and then so like Jeff only gets two on the fast count, and the DDP reverses it. Kim doesn't count again. Jeff knees DDP and then DDTs him. That's a fastest count of two. Eric starts walking back. Jeff tags to Eric, and Eric starts kicking DDP with horrible kicks. They tag back to Jeff, and Jeff's punching Eric. DDP fights back and is taking out both men. David Arquette stumbles down the aisle. We've all seen the image. Then Jeff pushed DDP into Kimberly, but he stops himself so he doesn't hit her. DDP kisses her, and I guess this fucking just incapacitates her like she's fucking Sleeping Beauty or something. Reverse Sleeping Beauty in this bitch. Jeff hits DDP with a title and pins him, and while at the same time, David spears Eric and pins him. Mickey J comes down and counts the pin for David, and David wins. Fucking Dewey, who I love and scream, is the fucking world champ. I'm so angry. It's my first time ever seeing this. Like, I'd obviously seen like the other stuff, but actually sitting down and watching the match. For some reason, DDP is happy for David despite he lost. This is so goddamn dumb. Like, it was so bad. Like I can't remember if I mentioned this to Logan before the podcast or when we were recording. I read in the Observer, they literally tickets stopped being sold. People stopped buying after they announced that. Spoiler alert: David Flair defends us at Slamboree. They stopped selling
David
tickets.
Arquette.
No one was buying them. Yeah, David Arquette. Sorry, but it's just so god awful. Like it frustrates me to no end. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's just so bad. Like I hate it. I hate it, Logan. This is like, and guess what? Fucking Russo wins the title in September, and that's gonna piss me off too. Probably even more because Russo sucks. So, so bad. This match was nothing match. Like we could say all this Jeff Jarrett and DDP feud was, besides the spring stampede match. There's always some fuckery in it. It's just horrible. What are your thoughts before I have a coronary and my Apple Watch tells me to shut up?
Yeah, just not a good decision. You could hear it in Tony's voice that he was actually kind of pissed at this at the same time. I mean, he was still announcing and saying stuff, but you could tell he was kind of like, did we really just do this? But yeah, not a bad, no, very bad. Sorry, very bad decision. I get what they're trying to do, but like you just said, it does no surge to ticket sales whatsoever. So, it definitely wasn't worth it. You obviously continue to spiral from here, and you eventually go out of business within the year. So yeah, just a horrible business decision. Not like you said, not the only non-wrestler we're gonna have as world champion this year. So, but yeah, I mean, I get the publicity, the shock value kind of thing, a way of thinking about doing this, but you just changed the belt on Monday, and previously you had just changed it to the pay-per-view before that. So it's like, we need to kind of have a world champion here for a while, but I'm afraid that that is not going to be the case for the next few months. That is, so we'll get into all the debauchery of the world championship that we'll get into, but not a hot start to those proceedings here.
If I was watching, even at 11 years old, I probably would have just turned this shit the fuck off.
Did they really win?
And been like, I guess I'm never watching wrestling again. Like it. And I did watch this documentary that he put out. It came out during COVID about when him wanting to be a wrestler and how everyone treats him as a joke. And he did like I feel bad for him. He's put in a no-win situation. I know he donated the money he made from this to Brian Pillman's kids, to Draws, and Owen Hart's kids. So like some good did come from it, and like I think even like Flair told him to buy the boys all the drinks, like pay for all the drinks that night when this happened. Flair was probably just wanting free drinks, but he was just put in an unfortunate situation. Like it fucking sucks.
It's not his fault.
They thought it was going to get all this like mainstream publicity. I think it like showed up in the USA Today, but it didn't lead to ratings, like which is what they were fucking going after. So it's like, then what is this for? Like, you do value the world title. Like, what yes, it was in a fluke way, but what they should have done is just had him lose Monday. Like, be like, I can't do this, and he gives up the belt or something. Like, you just had the tournament, or just have like Jarrett just beat the ever loving piss out of him. But it's just horrible. Yeah. Like it, I know wrestling's fake, but it's like, goddamn, like.
I guess at least he didn't pin Jarrett. At least he pinned Bischoff.
Yeah, that is like they did have the common sense to do that. So, yeah. But yeah, this Debbie Downer of an episode, like, way to kill my momentum, boys. But yeah, this brings us to an end of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW. Before we get out of here, let's go over some. We had 7 matches tonight, 0 clean finishes. All 7 had fuckery in it of some sort. Pretty impressive. Like Bam Bam tried to use a chair, but ref stopped him. Kurt hit Sean. Chair shot and Eric interference in the Kidman match. Everyone interfered in the Paisley match. Scott hit Booker with the belt, and Jeff hit DDP with the belt. Pretty amazing, guys. Well, I guess the table match was the clean finish. My apologies, guys. So, yeah, we had one clean match, and it was a gimmick match, and 6 non-clean. 0 pole matches tonight. We're still stuck at 5, but we did have 2 gimmick matches tonight, and we hit the big 100 gimmick matches, and it probably would have been sooner, but it's like I started counting this in like episode 3, so it's like 100 gimmick matches. Insane. 0 guitar shots tonight. We're still stuck at 32 different things happened tonight, and we're now up to 46 title changes overall, including the world title change in hands on Nitro and Thunder. So Logan, for most absurd, I have David Arquette winning the title. What do you Yeah. What was good? I got the Flair promo.
Booker awesome.
Yeah. For what was bad, should I just be like, see most absurd?
See rest of show. No, Paisley.
Well, it wasn't that bad of a show, actually.
Paisley, Tammy.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and I think I'm going to know the answer to this question. Are we smarter than Vince Russo's WCW, Logan?
Yes, he gave the world title to an actor.
Yes, a resounding yes.
No matter the popularity of the movie, no matter the popularity of the actor, he gave a wrestling world title to an actor of a movie that wasn't popular and that did not make a lot of money and was not associated with a company that was doing anything good at the time. So, horrible decision, terrible booking. Yes, we're absolutely smarter than Vince Russo's WCW.
And guys, I'm gonna say it. Like, I know it sounds like I'm all doom and gloom, but guess what? We will be back in 2 weeks because me and Logan will not finish this podcast until it's over. I don't care if it kills us. But yes, that brings us an end to another episode of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? For Scott Shiflett, he's Logan Crossland. See you in 2 weeks.